everyone. I hope you're having a great day today. So today we are going to be talking about 1.5c angle bisector. So an angle bisector, that is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So you kind of think of this like a segment bisector. Remember when we learned from our last unit, that one was a segment or a line that cut a segment in half. This is the same thing, but instead it's a ray. So like in this case, the ray JK is cutting this angle in half. So in this picture, because the ray JK is the angle bisector, that means that angle LJK is congruent to angle KJM, which we can also see in this picture because of the arc marks right here. That's marking that those two angles are congruent. Okay, so let's go into some practice problems. So this first one says that the ray KM bisects JKL. And so again, because it bisects it, that means it's creating two congruent angles. So that means that this angle is congruent to the angle on the right. And because they're congruent, that means that the measure of angle JKM is equal to the measure of angle MKL. Well, I'm told in this problem that the measure of angle JKM is 4x plus 6, which I can also write in this picture. And MKL is equal to 7x minus 12. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug those values into my equation here. So I know that angle on the left is just 4x plus 6. And the angle on the right is 7x minus 12. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and solve for x. So I need to get all my x's on one side. So I'm going to subtract the smaller, the 4x. And so I'm left with 6 on this side. 7x minus 4x, I get 3x, and then minus 12. Next, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. 6 plus 12, I get 18. And then I'm going to divide by 3. And so I get that x is equal to 6. Okay, and then I'm going to see what it's asking me. So it's asking me to find the measure of angle JKM. So JKM. So that means I need to plug into my x into this one. So the measure of angle JKM is equal to 4 times x, which is 6, plus 6. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. And 24 plus 6, I get 30 degrees. And since we're finding an angle measure, I put that degree symbol on there. And we could have also plugged in to this expression as well, because we know they're equal. And that's a good way to check yourself. So if I were to plug in 6 in there, I get 7 times 6 minus 12. Well, 7 times 6 is 42. And 42 minus 12 is 30. So I'm good. Okay, let's try this next one. So QS bisects PQR. The measure of angle PQS is 5y minus 1, and PQR is 8y plus 12. Now I want to find the measure of angle PQS. Okay, so this one didn't give us a picture, so what I like to start off with is drawing a picture. So I'm told that QS bisects PQR. Remember Q, that is, since it's in the middle, that's my vertex. I'll put my P over here and R over here. And QS bisects it, so that means this ray that has an S. Told that PQS is 5y minus 1 degrees. And PQR is 8y plus 12 degrees. So that's PQR. That's this entire thing. So that means this whole angle is 8y plus 12. I want to find the measure of angle PQS. Well, I know since this bisects that these two angles are congruent. And so since they're congruent, just like when we were dealing with midpoint, that means that the whole angle is just twice of the one angle. So that means that the measure of my whole angle, PQR, is just equal to 2 times the measure of the small angle. And now I'm going to plug in what I know those are. So PQR, I'm told that's 8y plus 12. And that's going to be equal to 2 times, we'll measure PQS, that's 5y minus 1. And then from here I'm going to solve. So I want to distribute that 2. So I get 10y minus 2. Get all of my y's on one side. So I get 12 is equal to 2y minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. And then divide by 2. So I get 7 is equal to y. Another way that you could have thought about this is that since these two are congruent, that means that this other angle is also going to be equal to 5y minus 1. So I could have, instead of doing 2 times this, I could have done 5y minus 1 plus 5y minus 1. Well, when you add those together, you still get 10y minus 2. So either way works. And that's really similar to what we did for the midpoint. Okay, and now this one was asking me to find the measure of PQS. So PQS, so I need to plug in my value for y there. So that means the measure of angle PQS is equal to 5 times 7 minus 1. Well, 5 times 7 is 35. So that means that this is 34 degrees. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try to do that last one. So the answer that you should have gotten here was 46 degrees. So this one, we were given the two angles that make up the big angle, and since we are told that JK bisects LJM, that means that those angles are congruent. So I set them equal to each other and end up getting x equals -2. And then this one you had to be careful to see what it was asking for. This one was asking for the measure of angle LJM, so it was asking for this whole angle. So I first plugged into KJM just because that one was easier. And so I got -2 plus 21. Well, 2 negatives make it positive, so it's really 2 plus 21, which is 23. And then the measure of angle LJM, that's just going to be twice that. So I get 46. So I'm going to go ahead and write a little summary up here. So we know that those are congruent to each other, but another important thing to remember is that the measure of angle LJM is going to equal to twice the measure of angle LJK, which is equal to twice the measure of angle KJM. So whenever you're asked to find that larger angle, it's always just going to be twice of either of these smaller angles. Okay, that's it for today. If you need some extra practice, there's some below. If you want to look at some extra examples that I did, you can look at that. Otherwise, you can go ahead and get started on your assignment. Hope you have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions.